Learning never stops. And today I'm learning to be a minister. Certainly, colleagues, you all know I'm not Honorable Tumwewaze. My name has been mentioned, but for today, I'm standing on his feet. And he had loved very much to be here, but he had to go to cabinet. Today we're having a paper in cabinet on establishing the Food and Agricultural Regulatory Authority. So the minister has to be there today to present that, so he couldn't be here. And together with the permanent secretary. So today I have to speak like the minister. The only challenge that I will have many limitations. I will not be, I have to speak, I'll try to speak my mind, but only to a certain extent. Because there will be that collective decision that I have to abide by. The Executive Director, the Global Forum for Rural Advisory Services, Dr. Carl, was just spoken here. You tried to make our speeches shorter, but unfortunately we're again reverting to our long ones. The DG NARO, represented by Dr. Kasim. The Executive Director of the AFAS. The leadership of UFAS. Development partners here present. The ministry senior staff and the district production officers present. All the extension professionals here present. Representatives of farm organizations, private sector and academia, as well as civil society. The media, the youth and women innovators, all you participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great pleasure for me to join you this morning to officially open the Uganda National Agriculture Extension Week 2026 on behalf of the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. I wish to thank the Uganda Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services for organizing and convening this important national forum and for the continued leadership in professionalizing, coordinating, and giving a voice to Uganda's extension and advisory services community. Before I even continue, I would like to request my colleagues from the public sector, ministry, NARO, the districts, please stand up for recognition. Thank you so very much for coming. And those ladies and gentlemen certainly do a great job. Just like you heard the DG NARO speak here. People do a great job, but oftentimes due to certain limitations, they are hardly appreciated. And also, many times we are very mean on publicity. We do a lot, but we're not very good at talking. But we want to thank you because you certainly sustain the farmers' livelihoods out there. This year's Agriculture Extension Week is themed Unlocking Uganda's Agriculture Potential. Multi-act agriculture extension and advisory services for resilient, digital, and market-oriented food systems. The theme is both timely and intentional and reflects where Uganda is coming from, where we are today, and most importantly, where we are going as a country. As we all know, Uganda has no shortage of good policies, strategies, and investment concepts in agriculture. What makes a difference between success and frustration is how quickly and how well these policies and strategies reach the farmer in the form of applicable technologies, innovations, and management practices. And as we earlier heard, the bridge between policy, science, markets, and farmers is called extension and advisory services. Under the National Agriculture Extension Policy and Strategy, the government of Uganda committed to a single spine pluralistic extension system, one that brings together public extension workers, private sector actors, NGOs and farm organizations, as well as academia, and a shared framework, clear standards, and strong coordination. This was not accidental. It was a recognition that no single actor can transform agriculture alone. As we are today, of course, how well we have performed in that line, your guess is as good as mine. UFAS has over time attempted hard to play a critical role in making that vision real by championing collaboration among extension and advisory service providers across the country. As we should be aware, Uganda's development ambition, as articulated in Vision 2040 and the successive national development plans, is clear. We must move our agriculture from peasantry to commercial status and making it market-oriented with a competitive agro-industry. But again, agro-industrialization does not begin in factories or hotels or lecture theaters. It begins in fields, homesteads, fisheries landing sites, and grazing areas. It begins with the farmers who understand quality, standards, aggregation, post-harvest handling, value addition, and markets. And with a clear understanding that the market needs three things: quantity, quality, and consistency. Then agriculture becomes a business. For that reason, extension today must go beyond telling farmers how to produce more. It must support them to produce for markets, for processors, for exporters, and for resilience. Extension workers link farmers to inputs, finance, insurance, processors, cooperatives, as well as digital platforms. Friends, climate change is no longer an abstract conversation. Farmers are experiencing it every season. The National Adaptation Plan for Agriculture sector is equally clear that Uganda's resilience depends on knowledge reaching farmers quickly, accurately, and consistently. Extension workers are therefore our frontline climate adaptation agents, supporting climate-smart agriculture, early warning systems, sustainable land and water management, and risk reduction. It's been said earlier, when extension is weak, farmers gamble. When extension is strong, farmers plan. And we certainly have to take this very seriously. I was seeing a clip on YouTube yesterday, somebody saying, the problem today, very many people are doing agriculture successfully on social media. Everybody is TikToking, how they are making a lot of money, how people can get a lot of milk on social media. But he said, come on the ground, and you will not find that person who is talking on the ground. So this forum is an opportunity to reflect honestly on whether our advisory systems are sufficiently climate informed, data-driven, impactful, and inclusive, especially for the majority smallholder farmers, women, youth, and the vulnerable communities. One of the most exciting developments in extension today, as has been highlighted, is digital innovation. Across Uganda, we see young people using mobile platforms, geospatial tools, digital marketplaces, and farmer apps to reach thousands of producers faster than ever before. Certainly as government, we do not see digital extension as a replacement for human interaction, but as a powerful complement. I always give some comparison between some two countries, Uganda and Ethiopia. As Carl said, true, we may not have enough money to get all the people we want like it was before. We're told Ethiopia and Uganda, some IMF studies show that yes, there's a challenge with extension. And the problem is that there are not enough staff to teach the farmers. And they had two recommendations that, you need now to use private extension workers and digital tools. And Uganda took that advice. Ethiopia took their own recommendation. If it's an issue of people, let's recruit people and deploy them. And today, we are all going to benchmark how Ethiopia's agriculture is doing well. The digital tools are okay, but a certain critical amount of human resource must be on the ground. And as a country, that is what we would be working towards, ensuring that we have a number of people for the minimum structure that has been put in place. Because certainly the numbers of one extension worker to 2,000 households, it's just not possible to continue working that we are doing anything. Allow me to be very clear. Government is investing in extension and advisory services, both directly and indirectly through the many programs and projects nationally and externally supported. We have tried to give the extension grant. We have the parish development model. Now there is a Uganda Climate Smart Agricultural Transformation Project, for which I think tomorrow we should be giving 69 districts vehicles and motorcycles to do a project work that's trying to support extension workers. We have the National Oil Seeds Project, the National Oil, Palm Oil Project, the many mechanization, water for agriculture, production investments, among others, as public investments. However, as said already, financing alone is not enough. Resources must align to standards, professional ethics, and measurable results. And I know here we've talked about the kind of results we want, but as a country, we all know there's a strategic direction ingrained in our National Development Plan 4 now, wherein we have the agro-industrialization program. And in that program, there are only seven high-level results that we're expected to achieve in the 5 years of this plan. There are only 7. And if you may allow, I know all of us, I surely suppose all of us should be having that document. The Ugandan people, Ugandan-based people here should be having the NDP4. And those 7 high-level program results are: 1, just to read verbatim, increased agriculture sector growth rate from 5.14% in financial year 23-24 to 8%. Increased export value of priority commodities and their processed products from United States dollars 2.5 million in the same base year to USD 4.8 million. Reduced import value of agro-based products from USD 1,096 million in financial year 23-24 to USD 600 million. Increased yield of priority agricultural commodities by 50%. At least 60,000 jobs created by agro-processing industries or factories annually. Increased the food and nutrition security from 71% to 85%. Increase the share of agricultural financing to total financing from 11.3% to 15%. Just those 7 is what the country expects to achieve. And therefore, as we are measuring the results of whatever we do with our projects, programs, at the end of every year, how much are we contributing to achievement of the national objectives? It is very key. And it is really what expected of us, that every time we surely meet here, we should be weighing ourselves against those indicators. And I hope next year it will be so. Over the coming days, you will engage in policy dialogues, technical sessions, exhibitions, field-tested innovations, youth and agribusiness discussions, and reflection on digital and climate-smart extension approaches. I do expect this work to produce practical recommendations, therefore, not only for government. Many times when we gather, we want to make recommendations for government. And when we say extension is weak, everybody is saying, what is government doing? But when we gather here, we're all saying we are doing extension. So we not only make recommendations for government, but for all actors in extension that we surely say we are to implement. By the end of this week, we should be clear on how to strengthen coordination in truly a pluralistic system, how to professionalize and support extension workers. Keep in mind, colleagues, many of us are not extension workers, but rather managers. And we are administrators, we are coordinators, we are supporters of extension work. The extension workers are really those people down in the field who are interacting with the farmer, whom we want to see they are supported to deliver their work. 3, we need to see how to make our advisory services market relevant and climate responsive, and how to better include women and youth as leaders, not just as beneficiaries. On our part, in the public extension system, we are so much alive to the challenge of inadequate numbers that I've mentioned, the transport challenges and operational logistics. But this government keeps addressing slowly as and where the budget allows. But there is a lot more required to make agriculture extension more responsive to stakeholder needs that we must all pay attention to. We heard earlier speakers already talking. The quality of training in universities and colleges. We all have to accept and look back and say, is it up to what is obtaining today? Do we have enough practical training facilities? Or when we have a challenge, the only recommendation we have is let's develop another course or a course unit. The adequacy of training during field attachments, and this is the role of industry in training. And I think Dr. Patience alluded to what the ministry is trying to do with Mountains of the Moon. So far, I think in many universities in Uganda that are offering agriculture, the training is still almost 70 or 80, 20, 80 classwork, 20 or less field work. But even field work, just go and observe things and come back to class and report about what you observe. And I think we all have to live to this reality and say we need to change things, but also having proper training places for students. I always talk with my lecturer. Dr. Miro is my lecturer, right from undergraduate, master's to PhD. But today we sometimes have some face-offs. Yeah. We really have some face-offs and say, no, everything is not right. We have to agree that something needs to be done. And it is a healthy interaction. But many times, students are set out to go for attachment. All we do is give them letters to whom it may concern. And they go, they are to find where to train from. Surely, the skills acquired from to whom it may concern, are they going to be useful? So we need to see that, and the private sector, the industry comes on board to be participants in building skills for the agro-industry. The issue of reskilling and refresher training with opportunities for people in service. Imagine a person who has come out of university not well prepared and also goes and is deployed, given no additional training. Really, are we going to judge them rightly for if we say they're not working well? Again, it is all our responsibility to ensure these people get further exposure. Science evolves, so there should be reskilling, retraining for them to keep up the competence with the market or with the needs of the agriculture sector. The status of research extension farmer linkage. Dr. Kasim talked here. It's broken. That again, we have to go back. We have to all accept to rebuild it. Because otherwise research is doing a lot, but it's not moving to the farmer. Because the wheels that are extension are worn out. And if they move so slowly. So we have to bring back that linkage strongly for us to be able to deliver these technologies to the farmer. We have the Zone Agricultural Research Development Institutes. We are the DFIs. Now there is some semblance of team there, the district the adaptive research support teams. We need to see all this work effectively if we are to reach the farmer. Because eventually how we are measured to succeed is not how we talk, how we spend money, or how we account for the money, but how the farmer is transformed. That should be our accountability at the end of it. Standardized information, communication, education materials and practices. Again, this is the challenge. We are many. We are pluralistic, but everybody with their own way of doing things, yet working with the same farmers. At the end of the day, the farmer remains confused, does not know whom to follow. And we need to be able to ensure that we are all communicating the same language to the farmer. Alignment to national strategic direction, I've mentioned. What does the country want? If they say for the central Uganda, we need to promote coffee, banana, dairy, and then you come and say, no, let's grow more apples. Certainly we are distorting the national vision. And sometimes people come like that, come with a lot more money and divert the farmer. So you weaken the national effort. So we need to be aligned to that strategic direction. They've talked about professionalism. Friends, maybe because in Uganda agriculture is still about 80% people in agriculture peasants that do not apply science in doing their farming. And sometimes we have found everybody and anybody calling him or herself an extension worker. And everybody. And so, just recently, not even long ago, I think there was an advert from one organization in one part of this country, and is advertising for extension workers to implement a certain project at the parish and sub-county levels. And one of the qualifications for those extension workers is social sciences. Really. And you will say there's a professional there. It is certainly difficult, and these things are very common. And I think having the right qualifications, qualified people with the right extension skills, with a good ethical conduct, is critical if we are to deliver extension and to make it responsive, and to have quality assurance and regulations. As I conclude, I speak direct to different groups present here. To our extension professionals, you are aware you are the backbone of agricultural transformation. Please continue to learn. It is also in agricultural profession where we forget to read the moment we finish university. And when we read different things. We now want to read political science, we want to read public administration, we forget the agriculture. At the end of the day, some other people are speaking about agriculture in a better way than we, the professionals. Please continue to learn, collaborate, and uphold professional standards. To the local governments, extension is not an add-on, it is central to parish, district, and regional development. Yes, we are few. Yes, you are few. Now I stand up as a minister. But you see that I'm so deep into extension that I forget. Yes, you're few. The facilitation may be low, but let's show results from that little. So we make a stronger argument for more. To UFAS and all extension actors here present, we just have to keep in mind the voices in the public are very loud for all of us to hear. Extension services to the farmers are inadequate to cause the required transformation. Yet we are very many. We need to know why the gap. We need to know why the gap, and not only always celebrate networks, growing networks. We should be seeing the impact on the ground, seen by what people are producing and how their livelihoods are changing. To development partners and the private sector, invest beyond projects, but sustainable systems. And of course, whether private extension or public extension, which way, again, I want us to remind ourselves that for the case of Uganda, where majority farmers, largely smallholder and peasant, we still need a public service extension. It's still very critical. Just like we have UPE in education, USE, you have the primary health care, we still need this extension to be effective to transform these poor people to the extent that they can now pay for extension services with the time. And to our farmers, women, and youth, this transformation must ultimately serve you, your livelihoods, your dignity, and your future. What we are calling for is social transformation. And again, the private sector, sometimes people mix that civil society is private sector or NGOs are private sector. I don't agree. We are all called civil servants. We are all working for a salary. The private sector, people are working to make money, to make profit and pay taxes. So the people who can think in the private sector in agriculture, people who are producing inputs, the farmers themselves who are commercialized, the commercial farmers, and those are the private sector. But the commercial farmers, I surely say, let's also move into employing professionals. It is very common to see the commercial farmers for livestock employing herdsmen instead of employing animal husbandry or livestock professionals. And for the crop farmers, employing gardeners instead of some agriculture officer or assistant agriculture officer. Those are now the private extension. Those people employed in private farms are the private extension. Let's employ them, professionals, because agriculture is a science. In light of all the above, the ministry is still in pursuit of an effective extension strategy In addition, as mentioned earlier, we need to push to institute an agriculture extension law or regulation. We need a system that works for the farmer, not for implementers, state or non-state. It is long overdue, but sooner than later, you'll all be invited to participate in this critical process. And hopefully within this year, we should be convening again to give our input into this review process, to develop a new strategy and putting in place a bill, a National Agriculture Extension Bill, so that we have a streamlined and regulated working space with the clear roles and responsibilities for all parties. Ladies and gentlemen, with those very many words, I thank you for listening, and I take the honor as a minister to declare the Uganda National Agriculture Extension Week 2026 officially open. Thank you very much.